Hi, and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's quick review for Stranger Things Season 1. This video is a part of a series of videos where I give a quick, spoiler-free review of a TV show currently airing. So this video is aimed more at those who have not seen the show, but those who have will know more of what I'm talking about. This video is where I give my review on the Netflix series Stranger Things. So Stranger Things is something that's been getting a lot of buzz lately, some critics referring to it as the best movie of the summer, when of course it isn't a movie, it's an 8-episode Netflix series, but I think that's also meant as a commentary on how poor the movies this summer have been. Stranger Things is set in the 1980s, but more than that, it tries to come off very much as a film that was made in the 80s. Other than the high HD quality you can watch the show in, the sets, music, editing style, and even the fonts, everything in this film comes off as if it was made in the 1980s. Many have noted that it is strongly influenced by Stephen King's movies of the 80s, as well as Steven Spielberg movies of the 80s, and many refer to it as a combination of the two. And therefore, the most common criticism of the show is that it's a bit too rooted in 80s nostalgia and doesn't really offer anything new. And I'm not sure I entirely agree with that assessment, as I would classify this series as being a way to see something new with the 80s style. As usually when one wants to watch something with a Stephen King / Spielberg 80s style, they have to watch something that they've already seen. And this is the way to present the show in that same style, which it manages to capture perfectly while offering something you haven't seen before. And I would argue that the story does seem fresh even in 2016. It's just rooted in 1980s nostalgia. Many compare it to the film Super 8, which also tried to recapture the 1980s Steven Spielberg feel, but that film more combined it with modern-day horror movies. And although many would prefer Stranger Things, I actually prefer Super 8, but that has more to do with the fact that I really like that movie, and much more so than most did, and in fact consider it one of my top 50 favorite movies of all time. So that might just be me. And part of the reason on why I don't think it quite holds up to Super 8 is because Stranger Things did have a kind of subpar ending, whereas I felt Super 8 was consistently good, although admittedly that's easier to pull off in a 2-hour movie as opposed to an 8-hour TV series. And whereas Super 8 was more of a straight up Spielberg film, where I'd say Stranger Things felt a bit more Stephen King to me, and I was never a huge fan of 1980s Stephen King movies. So Stranger Things tells the story of 4 boys that are friends and seen as kind of losers, and one of them goes missing in a very mysterious way. The show tells the story of his 3 friends that go on a mission to find him, and as well as the missing boy's brother and mother, played by Winona Ryder, who also try to find him with the help of the local sheriff. It also tells the story of one of the young boy's sister and her interactions with her new boyfriend, which inadvertently get her caught up in this same mystery. So the mystery has supernatural elements to it, which the boys and the mother soon discover, which also involves a young girl who calls herself 11, whom the 3 young boys discover and try to take care of. They soon notice there's something very strange about her as well. Personally, I felt the character of 11 was the high point of the series and mainly what set it apart from the typical 80s show, as although there were some familiar elements in her story, the overall way this character was depicted, I felt, was very original and not really like anything we've seen before, and it was pulled off amazingly well. However, as I mentioned before, I felt the show kind of fizzled out at the end. I didn't think the ending was awful or disappointing, however, it did seem just kind of average, especially compared to the beginning of the series, which was so great. It's like, all during the season, there were these separated groups, each with different pieces of the puzzle trying to solve the same mystery, and I kept waiting for them to come together and fit their pieces together, but once they did, it wasn't really that satisfying. So my rating for Stranger Things Season 1 out of 10 is an 8 extremely good. I can certainly see why everyone is buzzing about this show. It is very well put together, filled with well-developed and interesting characters telling an engaging story while filling the niche for 80s nostalgia. However, parts of it did feel a tad bit too familiar, and overall the ending didn't quite live up to the quality set by the first half of the series. And as to the question of will I watch the next season, the answer is yes, but I'm really curious about it. It has been announced that there will be a season 2, but there's been a certain amount of controversy about this because season 1 seems to tell a complete story, so a season 2 would seem superfluous, unless it were to play like an anthology series where season 2 covers entirely different characters and locations. However, the showrunners confirmed that season 2 will feature many of the same characters, which has a lot of people up in arms. However, they also said that they think of it less as a season 2 and more of a sequel. So I'm curious to see if they can pull this off. So that's it for my quick review of Stranger Things Season 1. Be sure to check out my channel for many more quick reviews on shows currently airing and more to come. Also check out my channel for many more videos on shows like Game of Thrones, Star Trek, Mr. Robot, Dark Matter, and more, and be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that. And thanks a lot for watching.